welcome to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. What a great new opening to my show. Thank you so much, Eddie. It looks great. And I also saw my nieces and nephews in one of those photographs. So really a shout out to them. Glad to be back with you today on Dialogue with Deidre. We ran a show last week because I was out of town. I think it was the show that Mayor Wharton was on. So now we're back live and excited to be here with you today. You can go to the Dialogue with Deidre Facebook page and post questions for our guests today. In our first half hour, we have Dotty Carter, who is the Marketing and Development Manager for the Arc of the Mid-South, and we're going to talk about their programs as well as a gala that's going to be taking place this weekend that you may want to still get a ticket to. So Dottie's going to talk to you about that. And in our second half hour, Elliot Smalley, the Chief of Staff of the Achievement School District, will be my guest. And I know that in the last 2 weeks or so, you've either read about or you've seen on TV news what's going on with the Achievement School District. And in the process of wrapping up the last community meetings last night, for right now, Elliot's going to come talk to us about what are the next steps with the Achievement School District. So we should have a really good show today. Again, you're watching Dialogue with Deidre. We'll be back in a moment, so please stay with us.
Mid-South has been empowering people with intellectual and developmental disabilities to achieve their full potential for over 60 years. Families are strengthened by the personal assistance provided to their loved ones by our direct support professionals, allowing family members to maintain employment while still affording the individual with a disability the opportunity to enjoy the benefits of remaining in their home, where there's a sense of belonging, an atmosphere to thrive, and encouragement to live at an optimal level. Weekend retreats and summer camps give individuals with disabilities the opportunity to practice their social skills and build relationships while boosting self-confidence and independence. They also provide the caregivers in the family a respite from the constant demands of caregiving. Adult students with disabilities are given the opportunity to expand their knowledge in our Life, Education, Training, and Skills program, which provides training in reading, writing, math, and other skills needed to obtain employment. Our job developers in our Career Development and Job Placement program assess skills and interest levels and help students secure and maintain employment. Our community advocate assists parents with special education disputes and will attend individualized education program meetings when necessary to ensure that students receive appropriate educational services and accommodations from their local school system. The ARC Mid-South is a proud United Way agency serving individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Memphis and the surrounding areas of West Tennessee for over 60 years.
Dialogue with Deidre. I am your host, Deidre Malone, and I welcome Dotty Carter to Dialogue with Deidre. Welcome, Dotty.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
And I want Eddie to know that we need to correct the spelling of her name on the graphic because it's Dotty, Eddie. And it's my fault for giving you the incorrect information. We just saw a great video, Dotty. And give us a brief synopsis of what's going on at the ARC.
We have a number of programs and services that we provide for individuals with disabilities and their families. So sort of the 20,000-foot level overview is we have a career development and job placement program. But first what we do is we work with our students to make sure that they have the educational skills in order to get a job. Oftentimes our students come to us with a lower than necessary education level to get a job. So we test their skill levels, we test their interest levels to see what types of jobs they'd like to have, and then we work toward getting that job. So the first thing they do is they, as I said, take the assessment to see what areas they need help in school, because some of us are great at math,
right,
and some are great at reading, and some are great at social studies, but oftentimes, especially with special needs students, there's an area where they are really missing one of those segments. So we work with them to see where they need the help. Then the second thing we do in the classroom is to work with them on their job skills to see, A, what they're interested in, because you and I both know, if they're not interested, they're not going to go to work.
They're not at all.
Yeah, exactly. So once we figure out what their interests are, we work toward them obtaining a job in that area.
So you help with job placement?
We help with job
that's
placement.
Wonderful.
We have a job development coordinator who actually goes out into the community to work with employers to say, hey, I've got a potential employee who is interested in the restaurant industry. Do you have a position that you could carve out that might work for this particular individual? And then we work on those skill sets to make sure that when they get the job, they're doing what the employer needs. Then we also stay involved, because oftentimes it's a first-time job.
Sure.
So our students might not know exactly what is required of them in the working world. So we stay involved so that the employer is happy, the employee is happy, and therefore we are happy.
And how do you find your students or your clients?
Most of our students are referred to us through the vocational rehab department of the state of Tennessee. So Voc Rehab would say to the student, I think you would be a good candidate for the work that the ARC Mid-South does.
Okay. And how many students do you normally have?
Right now, our student level always varies. Right now we have about 16. And in our classrooms, we are very careful to make sure that everybody's getting what they need. Because if you need to learn to read and I need to learn math skills, it doesn't do us a lot of good to be in each other's class.
Sure.
So we try to make sure that everybody is getting what they need. That's one of the reasons that we can really use a number of volunteers, because we have the teachers teaching the skills, but then the volunteers need to help really hone those skills.
Now, if you're looking to recruit volunteers, who do they need to call over at the ARC?
They actually could call me.
Okay.
And our main number is 901-327-2473. And they could talk with me, and then whether it's the classroom or whether it's some admin work or working as a receptionist or whatever, there are a lot of places that we can use volunteers.
What other programs do you have that will benefit those students?
In addition to the classroom, the other areas that we really work toward is our advocacy department, where our community advocate actually would go with a family into the school system, because oftentimes parents don't know what to ask for.
Sure.
What accommodations are even possible, much less know how to ask for. over. So the advocate either will teach them or will go with them in the school system to make sure that they're getting the right things for their school-age students. Students can stay in the public system until they're 22.
Okay.
And so our classroom takes over at
After,
22.
okay, okay. And so you may have adults from 22 plus.
One of our students is in her 60s.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah, we have everything from 22 until we can get them a job.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And so the advocacy piece, I mean, I'm excited about that because, you know, today you have so many opportunities, but like you mentioned, some parents or caregivers may not know what type of questions to ask.
That's right.
In terms of receiving those opportunities.
And they may not have the assertiveness to ask.
Right.
You and I would have no
Absolutely.
trouble. But we're not everybody.
Right.
So there are some parents who just either don't know or don't have the skill set to ask, and that's where our advocate comes in, going into the school system or into the court system. If someone has gotten into trouble, there are some things that the advocate can ask for as far as accommodations are concerned to help with the sentencing.
So, Dotty, is the ARC a local organization associated with a national group?
Right, right.
And how long has it been around?
Okay. The ARC National is over 700 chapters strong,
Okay.
over 140,000 members across the country. The ARC Mid-South has been in existence since 1950.
Wow.
We were started by a group of parents and advocates who knew that there was more that could be done for their special needs students. And they were not getting what the resources that they needed through the school system. So they got together to try to figure out what they could do to make it better. And we've just grown since then. We were responsible for the first special education classes in the school system. Mm-hmm. We were responsible for helping with the Special Olympics. We recently have created the Career Development and Job Placement Department. So we keep growing and keep adding as we see the need. Across the country, the different chapters all are very autonomous.
Okay.
So what we do here in Memphis would not necessarily be what they do in Nashville or in the Twin Cities or in Florida. Everybody does what is appropriate for their community.
And how do you fund this program? Because I know we have a big fundraiser coming up.
That's right.
This Saturday, and we want to talk about that. But this is such important work because I've always thought about adults who maybe have developmental challenges, mm-hmm. and their parents pass away, and they might not be able to take care of themselves.
Right.
What normally happens to them? I've always thought, hopefully there's an organization that can assist, and it really sounds like the ARC.
Well, and there
there
are several different aspects to that question. So the first part was the fundraising. Mm-hmm. We are funded by the state of Tennessee Department of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, by Vocational Rehab, by the Center for the Aging Commission at the Mid-South, and then a lot of our funding comes from private sources, grant writing, fundraising, like our event this coming Saturday, different events that we have throughout the year. We have a wheelchair basketball event that's a lot of fun. We have a tennis tournament, just a number of different things. We are a United Way agency, so the United Way is very generous to us, for which we are very appreciative. So it's that time of year when people are starting to have their United Way campaigns mm-hmm. in their offices. Please be generous because your money really does go to some very worthwhile causes.
So, Dotty, what I want you to do is I want you to look at that camera and I want you to tell them, specifically those people who have an opportunity to select an organization where their money goes to, go ahead and give them your pitch.
Okay, so my pitch is we provide programs and services for individuals with disabilities, intellectual, developmental, or it could possibly even be an acquired disability, something like a car accident mm-hmm. or something along those lines. Our goal is to help people live the most fulfilled lives that they can live. That is through training, it is through the advocacy, it's also through our in-home respite care, and that's something we haven't really talked about yet.
We need to talk about that.
By the donations that our supporters make, we are able to fund these programs so that families can continue to live in the most fulfilled, most positive manner possible. It is our goal to keep families together. Here in Memphis, we do not have a residential facility because we want family members to stay in their homes, and that's part of what we do.
Okay, that's wonderful. And that's a part of the in-home respite care.
That's correct.
That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Let's talk about this big gala. Now, is this the first year?
Oh, heavens no.
Okay. This is not the first year.
This is our 18th
Oh,
annual
wonderful.
gala. Yeah. Our focus this year is on literacy. So supporting independence, creating literacy is our theme. And the goal is to keep funding our adult literacy program, which is directly helping individuals with disabilities so that they can go out and become productive, they can find jobs, they can help their families with some of the family expenses. But our gala is at the Hilton Memphis this coming Saturday. It starts at 6:30. Again, if you are interested in tickets, you can go to our website, which is www.thearcmidsouth, and that's, we are spelled ARC, .org. So thearcmidsouth.org, or you can call the office, and that phone number is 901-327-2473. The tickets are $100 each, or a table of 10 for $900. If you are an ARC member, there is a discount. So there is an incentive to become a member so that you get the discount for the tickets.
That's good. Now, who's the speaker? Do you have a speaker?
We do.
Okay.
Pam McKelvey is our speaker, and her son Ian.
Pam's with Action News 5, anchor, 4 o'clock anchor, Action News 5.
And her son Ian was diagnosed with autism. And so Pam and Ian will be telling us what it's like to live with autism and what they have experienced as a family, in addition to Pam's recent bout with breast cancer.
Absolutely.
So as a family, they've had a lot of struggles, and I'm really looking forward to what they have to talk to us about.
I think what's so exciting about that is people have an opportunity to see Pam on TV Monday through Friday. And sometimes when people are celebrities, and anchors are celebrities,
Absolutely.
because they're on TV.
I'll be a celebrity this afternoon.
Yes, you will. As soon as we upload this, absolutely, too. And people are watching, you're going to be a celebrity as well.
That's right.
And so, but what it's going to really do for a lot of people is it makes it real. You know, you see Pam anchoring the news, and sometimes you don't think about the fact that, you know, she's been battling breast cancer, her son has autism, but it makes it real. So
It does.
It's important, I think, that I hope that a lot of people take the time, give you a phone call, buy a ticket, and come and participate in the ARC Gala this year, because I think they'll hear an incredible story, but more importantly, they'll be supporting a great cause.
That's right.
Great cause. Okay, so we've had an opportunity to see that video one more time, Dotty, as you were talking. Talk to me about your fundraising goal. How much money would you like to raise?
It is our goal this year to raise $200,000. Of course, not all of that is going to come from the gala.
Right.
Wish it would, but we understand that the economy is a challenge for all of us. And so what we ask is that you just think about the one thing that you could do without this week, that extra cup of coffee from, the corner store, or the movie that you were planning to go to, rent instead. We can all make a little bit of a sacrifice and make a difference. Just $5 a week would be a difference in the life of one of our students, because that would provide about 4 hours worth of tutoring for the classroom.
That's amazing.
So that in itself would be enough to help someone get past that hurdle.
That's amazing. And so the students actually graduate. Is there a graduation, or is there just job placement? How does that work, Dotty?
The next step after the classroom for most of our students is the goal is for them to get a job. Now, not all of our students are going to fit that mold, and we understand that. So we get their educational skill level, their literacy level, up to a functioning level, because our students oftentimes when they come to us can read on the second or third grade level. You can't live alone. You can't pay your bills if that's where you are. We had a wonderful meeting the other day, and one of our students stood up in front of a group of adults, and he was so excited because he could announce to the world that for the first time he paid his own bill.
That's amazing. That's
and
great.
He was so excited because he could read it, he could understand it, and he knew what to do. And I thought, you're going to get over being happy about paying your bills.
No.
But he was so proud of himself, and because of that self-confidence that he's gained, he also is now going out into the workforce. I have to give some props to Hershey's. They are creating a program called Hershey's Heroes, where they are hiring 5 of our students, and they are making the accommodations necessary for those employees to work on a full-time basis.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we are so excited, and our potential employees are so excited about the opportunities there. We also have just had 3 employees hired by MAPCO Express.
Oh, wonderful.
They have carved out a position for these individuals based on their skill levels.
Well, kudos to those corporations and those companies that do that, because that is so important for
and please don't get me wrong, those are not the only ones. Those are just
the
most recent.
No, but still.
It takes somebody with a bit of a vision, and somebody who is willing to take that leap of faith. And so we've been very excited about what the companies are doing with us these days.
Question about transportation. I mean, is transportation provided, or are the students taught how to take public transportation to
that
get to
is
their
one of our
present-
life skill classes, is how to maneuver MATA.
Okay. We need more MATA buses and stops.
Absolutely.
It's my plug.
And I don't know, have you ever ridden MATA?
No, I've not.
I am really sure that you and I probably couldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah. But our students learn to negotiate and navigate the system. And yes, that is something that is very important, because there are some cuts being made, particularly to MATA Plus. And that really will be a detriment to not just our students and our clients, but to anyone who has a disability, because it's a wonderful program right now, and I hate to see cuts being made to that system.
I do too. It's so definitely needed, As someone who's originally from Chicago, I've been here, it's my 27, 28 years now, but the transportation system is, you can get on an L, you can get on a bus, and you can get there. We're real limited here, and just to think about someone who doesn't have transportation, and then someone who has, developmental challenges, who we're excited about having an opportunity for employment.
Right.
To get there.
Right.
That transportation's needed.
It's definitely needed.
Okay. So is there anything else you want to share with us about the ARC?
Well, we haven't talked much about the respite program, and so I'd like to take just a few minutes to talk about that. We have a summer camp and weekend retreats where our campers, who are 8 years old and older, but most of our campers are adults, they come to us and they get the chance to get away from mom and dad for the weekend. They get the chance to hang out with their peers and have fun. Our summer camp was at Pinecrest this year. Our weekend retreats are held at different locations around town, and it just gives our campers the chance to to do something different and to have some fun. It also gives mom and dad or caregiver the opportunity to have a weekend away. Your son is 27?
27 and 23.
And mine's 24. But we remember the days of
Yes.
needing to have someone with them all the time. And it's a challenge. So this is what it provides the families, is an opportunity for them to have some time away to rejuvenate and recover and relax.
So are volunteers?
Volunteers
on the
are definitely needed for
Okay, for
the weekend retreats and
retreats.
summer camps as well. Another area in the Family Services Department, which is over the respite area, is our in-home care. So if you have a family member who has more of a challenge and needs someone with them 24 hours a day, through the Aging Commission or DIDS, Department of Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, we provide in-home care so that mom and dad can continue to work.
That's important.
And
Yes.
it's not just important for their mental well-being, but for their financial well-being.
Sure.
So it helps us as a community because it helps to keep them off of the welfare rolls and gives them an opportunity to remain productive, active citizens. So that's an area that we really have a lot of emphasis this year as well.
And are you seeing more and more parents or caregivers signing up for that service?
Absolutely. Because the dollars are shrinking
Yes.
everywhere. Some family members are having to go back to work. Some that have not been working, they've been staying home and caring for the family member, but they're having to go back because the resources are just not there.
I can tell you, Dotty, my husband and I were caregivers for my grandmother that raised me, and no developmental problems, but she was 90.
Yeah.
And so
I get it.
So, I mean, we had to have help because we both had jobs, and it just it made us feel better to have someone there to talk to her and look at TV with her and
Right.
and keep her mind active by
That's
interaction and communication.
Another area that I haven't mentioned. Did I mention earlier that we have a lot of things that we do?
Yes, you did.
Through the Aging Commission, if a family member is 65 and older, they do not have to have a disability. They are provided some, if they fall into the proper categories, they are provided with a few hours a week of homemaker services, of companion services, of personal care. So
That's
someone
wonderful.
would come in and help with bathing, with laundry, with light housework, with light meal preparation. So it gives the elder person the opportunity to stay in their home,
Which is
instead of
important.
having to be put into a residential facility.
Which is very, very
It's
important.
very important. Their well-being, their mental well-being is so much better off when they can stay in their
Wow.
own home.
Sounds like the ARC of the Mid-South is doing such great work.
Thank you.
And I want to say to our viewers that if you want to be a donor, it would be important for you. Can they donate online?
Absolutely.
Okay, go to the website and donate. But if you really want to hear, I'm sure it's going to be a fascinating story. Buy a ticket, buy a table to the gala this Saturday. And I think I may buy a ticket or two, and you'll see me there as well.
Yay.
So I'm excited about it and looking forward to being very supportive,
Thank you.
Dotty. And it's so good to see you again. Dotty and I used to work together years ago at WMC, Families of Stations.
That's right.
And so great work you're doing over
Thank
at the
you.
ARC.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, sure thing. And we're going to have you come back at some point real soon
Yay.
and let us know how things are going.
I will do that.
All right.
Thank you.
You're watching Dialogue with Deidre. Dotty Carter is my guest with the ARC of the Mid-South. And remember, give Dotty a call. Dotty, tell them the number one more time.
901-327-2473.
When we come back, Elliot Smalley with the Achievement School District will be our guest, and we'll talk about what's going on with the matching process. So you're watching Dialogue with Deidre. We'll be back in a few.
Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
No, Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
Taylor Brown is our community drugstore.
No hassle transfer, auto refills, as well as a $4 generic program. Taylor Brown offers deliveries to all customers, including care homes, senior citizens, and hospice.
Taylor Brown accepts Express Scripts, Humana, Cigna, Medco, TennCare, and more.
And remember, it is by us, for us.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. If I say dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again now.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
The Carter Malone Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Carter Malone Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Carter Malone Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
In basketball, threes are a part of the game.
3-pointers.
3 seconds in the key.
3 seconds left.
But this next 3 isn't a game at all.
1 in 3 adults in this country are at risk of developing diabetes, and most don't even know it.
If you have a family history of the disease, if you're overweight,
or if you don't exercise regularly,
you may be at risk.
If you are, get tested.
Let's take diabetes out of the game. Go to DribbleToStopDiabetes.com for more information.
This past year, we all learned the statistics are true. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will experience child abuse, usually at the hands of someone they know. Child abuse happens every day. Learn the signs and take action, because keeping a child safe is everybody's business. Make a difference. Visit safehorizon.org to find out more. Safe Horizon, moving victims of violence from crisis to confidence.
I like to ride my bike to get some exercise, just kind of clear my head.
I like to ride because it's really fun for me and my fiance to go ride together.
I started riding my bike as a way to save money on gas.
I like to ride my bike mostly because it's fun and it's good exercise.
That's how I get everywhere. It's how I go to grocery stores, it's go to work, it's how I go to my friend's house.
Sometimes I just like to not even have a particular destination in mind, just to see different parts of the city.
Just going through the park, you see people, and if you're on your bike, you can smile or say hello.
I own 5 bikes. The green Schwinn is my grandfather's bike, and every time I ride it, and he can be with me where I go.
I'm not burning gas, I'm not polluting the air. And in a way, it kind of gets me back to the kid in me, which is kind of cool.
Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. My guest this half hour is Elliot Smalley with the Achievement School District. He's the Chief of Staff, and I think he holds another title too, Director of Communications. Welcome to Dialogue with Deidre, Elliot.
Thanks for having me, Deidre.
Oh, sure thing. Let's talk about what's been going on the last couple of weeks. Okay, so the Achievement School District has announced the schools that are on the list that could potentially join the district next fall. Let's talk about what's been going on since then.
Sure. So if I backed up even further from the last 2 weeks, back in June we had another announcement. And in June we announced the list of charters that were authorized, that were selected to join the ASD to run schools next school year. And so it's kind of a two-part process, and that's important. We look for the best and brightest. We draw locally some great local charters, and also nationally people who are doing great work, have strong track records, and are really fired up about serving kids in Memphis. And so we have a process. We select them. When we select them, they don't have a home yet. They don't have a school, and they know it. And so we feel it's really important to have a really clear-cut, objective process for picking great schools, great charters, and then separate from that, engage the community and have a real selection process where we look at a list of neighborhood schools, and then we engage those schools that we've authorized in this process that allows them to learn a little bit about the communities, the schools and communities to learn about them, and then we get recommendations and we make a final decision on the match. So you're right, last week we announced that short list of schools that we're looking at, and together with that announcement, really what we're saying to people is we want you to now come out and learn about what we have to offer, and these charter schools that want to pair up with you and partner with you, your school, your community, to run a great school and get things better for kids beginning next year.
Well, I think that you had really good turnout at all 6 of the meetings. Really good turnout. A couple of the meetings, little, rowdy group going on, but I think that's to be expected, and I think the ASD really kind of handled that really well. And so with that as a backdrop, let's talk about what was important for the ASD to really try and communicate to those parents in those communities about this matching process.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for us, we want to start with one step, and we want to communicate that there are multiple steps that we want to take. And so I think one message is we're putting information out, and let's get this thing started. Let's get the conversation started. But we're not going to make a quick decision. We're serious about taking the next 3 months to have this conversation. I think that's really important because we want people to know we don't know where the charters are going to land. So what we want to do is we want to come out and explain first who we are. And I said it last night when I was over talking to the folks from Fairleigh. It's like being in a meeting and you start talking, you haven't introduced yourself. And so I feel like it's really important for us to explain to people, like, where did we come from? Why are we here? What's our mission about? Moving schools to the top 25% in the state. So we want to do that. We just want to kind of put information that's meaningful into people's hands. And then the second thing is we want to explain to people, why. Why are we talking about this school? Why are we even here having this conversation? Last night, Westwood and Fairleigh, why are we talking about these 2 schools? So we really walk people through how kids are doing there. And you can talk all you want about statistics and data and show graphs and numbers. For us, it's really about, we know what kids' potential is, right? And it's really limitless. With great supports and the right system, and the right teachers working together with school leaders, given the freedom to do great things, kids can accomplish great things. And so we know that's their potential, and basically we start with that belief, and then we look at how kids are doing in the schools. And so these schools, there's a set of criteria. We want to see how are the kids doing, and a few other things. Are they part of clusters or groups of schools and neighborhoods that we're also looking at? We're also working at those, with
the feeder patterns.
The feeder patterns, elementary schools connecting to middle to high.
Absolutely.
And so we've already got some schools at work this year. Shelby Unified has some I-Zone schools, Innovation Zone schools, where they're taking a similar approach. So that's another thing we look at. We don't want to just randomly select schools. We really want to look at schools where we can have a great impact and where schools are connected to each other. So if we're successful here with this engagement process, we're explaining ourselves, basically. We're saying, like, here's who we are, here's why we're here. We want parents and teachers and community members to understand that. And then the second big part of it is then get to know the charters. You know, some charters will, if they're not from Memphis, they'll fly parents out, and pastors and others come out and see our schools in action. You know, come visit our schools. So we want to open the door for that conversation to happen, and that's really what we're kickstarting right now.
I can tell you, full disclosure, you know, my firm, the Carter Malone Group, works with Aspire. And so Aspire last year was one of the charter management organizations that the ASD approved.
Right.
And so they went all out in terms of really trying to get into the community, to get the community to understand what they're all about, and let them know that they want to be in that community. And so they were really thrilled that they were matched with Hanley. And I think what they're doing over there, at least, you know, it's really early, but if they can mimic what they're doing in California, it's going to be off the chain, off the charts.
Right.
I'm excited about it.
That's right. Yeah, we had them out last night. You know, we're thrilled to have them here with us in Memphis. They're a terrific group of people, terrific proven public schools. I think one thing that's really important when I talk about explaining who we are, a lot of people have certain notions about charter schools and how they work. Our charter schools are really unique. They're unique because they must serve neighborhood kids. They can't change their attendance zones.
Okay, because see, that's kind of like a myth that's out there.
That's right.
It's like
that a charter can come in and pick. Well, we'll pick which kids we want from all around this whole county, right? And we'll just go out and we'll pick certain families, quote unquote. And it's really important for people to know. You know, we have a powerful belief in serving neighborhood schools, the schools that are on that list, that priority list, which the state defines, bottom 5% performance. And so when we authorize a charter, we select them, they must serve the same kids in the same neighborhood, same attendance zone. So we don't change kids.
Right.
And the only kids who can transfer into our schools, the only kids, if you have extra seats, must attend bottom 5% schools. They must attend schools on the priority list. So that's very, very important. And our charters are up for it. That's what they want to do. You know, and so it's really important for them to do these things that Aspire has proven, you know, to invest in last year, and our charters this year are doing the same things. We want to get out and talk with people and meet people.
Well, and the ASD did that. When the state, and Elliot, maybe you want to walk through, and I think some people may have heard this, but not necessarily on my show, how the ASD was created, and when you guys hit the state of Tennessee, specifically Shelby County. I mean, you guys hit the ground running. You know, you were in specifically Fraser down, okay?
Right.
And so meeting people and really trying to educate people on what the whole Achievement School District is about.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you really have to go back in time and see, you know, a few years ago, more than a few years ago, President Obama and U.S. Secretary of Education Duncan, and they put this challenge out to states, and they called it Race to the Top.
Right.
And a lot of people were just, you know, fed up with No Child Left Behind.
Definitely fed up with
Were they? Okay, I've heard that. So they said, like, we'll call this thing Race to the Top, and we'll flow resources to states who can give us a strong application and show us really two things. There were really the heart and soul of what they were looking for, centered on, one, how you treat your teachers. How do you encourage them, support them, select them, recognize and reward them? And so they wanted to see that states were willing to change systems around teachers, teacher development, support, and compensation. You know, teachers getting great results. Are they recognized for that, right? So states had to show we're going to do that. And the second thing they were looking for is, what are you going to do about your lowest performing schools? You know, and not your schools that performed low for 1 year or even 2 years, but persistently, you know, low performing schools. And so they said, look, we've been putting kind of some cosmetic changes on this. It hasn't worked. So if you want Race to the Top, you got to show us you're going to do something significant. So Tennessee applied, Tennessee won together with Delaware. And you know, that's when the Achievement School District was born, out of that Race to the Top movement. Really, that was spearheaded by legislators. We thank the legislature. I mean, many great leaders from here in Memphis, who felt like it was important to do something. And there was an urgent need. You know, Deidre, when we looked at how well kids were doing in that list of schools, we saw that only 1 in 10 kids in the schools that were on that list were reading and writing on grade level. You know, you could go out, if you went into any of these schools and randomly picked 10 kids and said, well, you have to sit down if you can't read or write on grade level, 9 of them would have to sit down.
It's funny, Elliot, that you mentioned that. I was talking to a parent last night whose child was at Wooddale, and graduated from Wooddale, and just was in the neighborhood and wanted to attend the meeting last night, but was an honor student, had done so well at Wooddale, and then when she put her child in Central, which is one of the better Shelby County schools, not an honor student now, so having some challenges. And so it's like the preparation to get there.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's a reality check for the student, but as well as for the parent, you know?
Parents are surprised. You know, we come out, we make no bones about it. We feel like, you know, we talk a little bit about truth and hope, and you can't have all of one or the other. And on the truth side, you know, we need to explain the truth, and the truth might be tough, you know, but this is how well kids are doing. And, you know, we even heard this week from a lot of parents who, you know, raised their hand and said, I didn't know this. This surprises me. And one message we have is look, it's no one person. It's not an individual. There are great teachers in the schools we're looking at. Great teachers. It's really, you got to take a step back and say, well, when that list was run, the bottom 5% of schools a few years ago, after Tennessee won and decided, well, how we define the schools, 68 of them were in Memphis. Right. 68. So that tells you it's a pattern. It's not one person.
It's like
one
68
teacher,
out of, what is it, 80?
82.
Okay.
You know, 68 out of 82. And so there's something about just the conditions. There's something about a system, you know, that, you know, might tie teachers' hands. You know, great teachers who are maybe hamstrung, can't do all the things that they want to do. They don't have the time. You know, they maybe have to spend some time on unnecessary things that don't help them lead in the classroom, paperwork, requirements, who knows what it is. And so people ask us all the time, well, what's your formula? You know, what's your recipe? And for us, it's really starting with great people, many of whom are already in these buildings, and they want this kind of thing. They want these kinds of conditions. So it's great people, great teachers. And then it's giving them the freedom. We talk about 4 freedoms. You know, schools should have the freedom over their budget, their people, their time, and their program. And we believe that's because school leaders and teachers know their kids the best.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of how our system works.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Elliot, I think we'll walk through the presentation that you gave to the parents last night at Fairleigh. And then what I want is to make sure that parents in these districts understand that they have an opportunity to talk to AAC members, and we'll explain who they are and what they do as a part of the next 3 months, because some people didn't get a lot of information over the last couple of days that I think probably wanted to receive information, and so now they do have an opportunity the next 3 months. So when we come back, we'll talk about that. You're watching Dialogue with Deidre.
Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
No, Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
Taylor Brown is our community drugstore.
No hassle transfer, auto refills, as well as a $4 generic program. Taylor Brown offers deliveries to all customers, including care homes, senior citizens, and hospice.
Taylor Brown accepts Express Scripts, Humana, Cigna, Medco, TennCare, and more.
And remember, it is by us, for us.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again now.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
The Carter Malone Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Carter Malone Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Carter Malone Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
In basketball, threes are a part of the game.
3-pointers.
3 seconds in the key.
3 seconds left.
But this next 3 isn't a game at all.
1 in 3 adults in this country are at risk of developing diabetes, and most don't even know it.
If you have a family history of the disease, if you're overweight,
or if you don't exercise regularly,
you may be at risk.
If you are, get tested.
Let's take diabetes out of the game. Go to dribble2stopdiabetes.com for more information.
I like to ride my bike to get some exercise, just kind of clear my head.
I like to ride because it's really fun for me and my fiance to go ride together.
I started riding my bike as a way to save money on gas.
I like to ride my bike mostly because it's fun and it's good exercise.
That's how I get everywhere. It's how I go to grocery stores, go to work. It's how I go to my friend's house.
Sometimes I just like to not even have a particular destination in mind, just to see different parts of the city.
Just going through the park, you see people, and if you're on your bike, you can smile or say hello.
I own 5 bikes. The green Schwinn is my grandfather's bike, and every time I ride it, and he can be with me where I go.
I'm not burning gas, I'm not polluting the air. And in a way, it kind of gets me back to the kid in me, which is kind of cool.
Dialogue with Deidre. Elliot Smalley with the Achievement School District is my guest. Elliot, let's talk about the matching process. Give us an overview.
Sure. So, I said earlier we select charters, and when we do that, they don't yet have a school, they don't have a home, and so we feel like it's really important to take time, engage the community. We get a volunteer group to help us with this. They totally volunteer. They want to do it, and they're excited about it. So we really take our time to work that matching process and set up, we create opportunities for parents, community members, and teachers to learn about the charter schools, and for the charter schools to learn from them and to understand their preferences and ask questions like, what do you like in the school? What would you want to keep? What would you want to grow? And what would you want to stop? And so they sort of create this vision together, and it's a consultation. They get feedback.
Okay.
And so that's the big overview. And the way that it works, for us is we take some time. We did this months ago. We invite people to come in and interview and see if they want to be part of this volunteer advisory group. It's called the Achievement Advisory Council, the AAC. And so this year we have 25 members. And
now, has it grown?
It's grown. Okay. Yeah, last year was about a dozen.
Okay.
Yes. So that was great to see. So we've got people from all across the city of Memphis representing the very areas of the city, the neighborhoods from which we've drawn the schools, the list. Like when you look at this list of 9 schools and where those schools are from, we've got AAC members from those areas. And so what we like to do is kind of come out when we make the announcement, lead some meetings and give a big overview, but we really like to kind of step to the side after that and really let the community drive this thing. And that's where the AAC members come in. We're actually meeting with that group next week to really kind of pass the engagement torch to them, and they take it. And what we tell them is, look, do it however you want to do it. You know the community best. And so if it's small group meetings or big meetings, I know there's a big meeting, I think next week at Fairley. Rosalind's doing it. We didn't organize it, and that's how this thing works, And so what we want to see is after the end of 3 months, like we want to see that there was a lot of participation, whether they use surveys or, keep track of meeting minutes. And so just get to as many people as you can and get their voice, good, bad, and different. We want people to participate. And so this group really leads that process. Okay. And so I think for us that there are a few key sort of signature events where we do bring people back together along the way. So one of them that I just want to point to is October 19th. I want to make sure I'm getting that date right. Yeah.
19th.
So on October 19th at Hanley Elementary, Spires Hanley Elementary in Orange Mound, we're going to invite everybody in. All the lists, all the people who just came to our meetings this week, anyone with whom the AAC interacts, I put an invite out to the whole city of Memphis, anybody who cares about education, come to this event because we're going to be there. We're going to have all of the charter schools that we've authorized that are, really interested in partnering with schools. They're all going to be there. And so it's a place for all of us to kind of come together at once and learn from each other and sort of rotate through and learn from each of the charters and find out about their programs. So we're going to host that. And then we're going to have another big event in October just for teachers.
Okay.
And I think we're calling it Teacher Town USA. It's something we want to create. Memphis is the best place to teach in the whole country. And so we really want to focus a conversation just for teachers so they can really find out about what it's like to work in these charter schools. What kind of benefits do they have? What does the workday look like? How do teachers collaborate? So those are 2 things that we've instituted and we run as part of school matching. But
so what's exciting about the 19th is the fact that parents who may have questions for charters that are interested in coming into their neighborhoods, you have an opportunity to ask questions. Come out and ask as many questions as you'd like to these charters, right?
That's absolutely right. And so you should have a chance, if this works right, to do that with your AAC members who are out there, because they're going to be working with the charters.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
They'll be there too. And,
good.
So there's that, but you know what? If some of that doesn't happen, we're gonna tell everybody come on in, and we're gonna spend a few hours together. And if you want to voice your opinion or question in a larger group, if you want to meet some of these other charters, and you want to hear from us about sort of like what's the big picture around this thing, this is another big opportunity for people to do that.
All right, Elliot Smalley, Chief of Staff of Achievement School District. Thank you so much for being on Dialogue with Deidre.
Thanks for having me, Deidre. Really appreciate it.
Any final comments?
Final thing I'd say is, look, we want your voice. We want you to jump into this thing. We want to hear from you. We take that very seriously. If you've got questions for us, call us. Our number is 901-416-3119. And we're going to post comments that we heard and questions from our meetings at the end of this week. We want to do that within the first week of meetings. So on our website, which is achievementschooldistrict.org, people can go there, they can see the dates of our meetings, and they can find out information about the AAC, and they can see our notes from the meetings that we've held. So I encourage people to call us, email us, visit our site, and let's have this conversation together about how we can improve outcomes for kids.
I think that's wonderful. Don't be afraid. Ask questions, make those phone calls, email, get informed, because it's very important, the education of our children. So you want what's the best for your children, so, and we do too. So make sure you pick up that phone, call, and participate in those meetings, because it's important that you know what's going on. Elliot, thank you so much for coming on Dialogue with Deidre. We'll have you come back at some point real soon.
I'd love to.
Okay, great. Now, Eddie, before we get off the air, I want you to put up a photograph that I sent you, and it is of the seniors for Deidre Malone, okay? You need to make sure that we participated in the Orange Mound Parade. I want to thank Miss Jean, the two Miss Jeans, Miss Lucille, and of course my mom, Ann Carter Nelson. We had a good time. Yes, I did walk 20 blocks in the parade, and my legs are still hurting. So thank you, seniors for Malone, for Mayor. I really appreciate you. We had a great time. So thanks, viewers, for watching Dialogue with Deidre. We'll be back next week, same place, same time, Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday.